My name's Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Good afternoon. This is Brother Kelvin X Lovejoy, and I'm here at Saviours Day Youth Can Save Our Community Black History event. This is an opportunity for us to bring together our community and share in the Black history, which actually runs from January through December, but we recognize it in February. But a time to recognize those who are working on the front lines for our young people in our community. We're having a great time down here. Wish you were here. Come on down. Join us. Youth Can Save Our Community, a Black History event, Saviours Day 2015.
Our president is under attack for not mentioning the word Islam in a negative way, Muslims in a negative way, folks that represent Arab communities in a negative way. And now, as of, a few days ago, Rudy Giuliani has been saying that he's not and doesn't love America. I'm a little bit disturbed by a lot of this conversation that's going on. But one of the things I often tell people is that, when you continue to hear this kind of dialogue, this kind of foot stomping from folks that should be representing your interests, and they're speaking in ways that continue to cause divisiveness at every turn of the road. Now, I don't mind you disagreeing with people, but when you constantly keep beating that drum, causing divisiveness, it's really, really alarming and concerning.
Hate-mongering.
Hate-mongering is another word, another term. And so all of what's been covered here today, at least what little bit has been covered so far by Brother Lovejoy, and let's give it up for the Nation of Islam too, folks. And that what a lot of folks don't know is he's recognizing a lot of folks here today, myself included, that's on this front row here, and there are modern day elders.
That's right.
Every generation, you young people, every generation has elders.
Right.
And they're not the people who are 900 and 800 years old and they're gone, long gone dead. They're the folks that's right here on this front row, your nieces, your aunts, your uncles, and folks that are out here in the battle trying to make sure that the communities are safe and everything else. And so I'm glad to be counted. Where's Jean at, who was just up here with her troop?
She might be in the back.
She might be in the back. Me and her went to high school. That was back in the 70s. And she looks good. To be up here like that. And the last thing I want to say is that I remember going to the mosque back in the 70s when it was on Main and Tower.
Yes, sir.
And Muhammad Ansari, remember, brother back there, remember. And that's how long I remember being connected to and associated with and admirable of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And so these are principles and values, folks, that continue to be a part of our community. When you see folks like Reverend Brown, Evelyn Richardson, I'm not going to keep naming names, Miss Cootsy and folks like that that's out here, that's really, really grounded inside this community. It comes back to really recognizing that we have values in our system and inside our community that's going to sustain us no matter what.
That's right.
And everything else. So I'm glad to be here, glad to be a part of the program. I'm also usher at my church, which is right across the way there. They told me I needed to be there at 11 o'clock today for rehearsal. So I asked Brother Lovejoy if he didn't mind me just swinging up here real quick. But one thing, folks, I just want to say that I work with everybody on this dais, everybody that's on this, the bulk of the folks that's on this in this room right here. And we continue to try to do the best we can in making our kids safe inside this community. And we have this thing called the Northeast Violence-Free Zone in this area. And folks are asking me, why did we start a zone in the north end of Hartford and not elsewhere and so forth? Well, it's about resources. But it's not only just about resources, limited resources, it's about making sure that we make an impact in our community. We can't keep thinning ourselves out and being all over the place. When I look at Henrietta Beckman and Reverend Brown out here, folks, what you don't know is that Hartford, and I always cite these statistics because it's important to me and I think it's important to everybody to hear it. Since 1998, we've had nearly 800 homicides in the city of Hartford. Nearly 800. Just in 2012 alone, St. Francis Hospital treated 501 victims of violent crime. That's not counting Hartford Hospital. Now we know those victims of violent crime, 500 of them didn't come necessarily from East Hartford, Manchester. They came from where? And now those 500, 200 were shooting victims. And again, we know they didn't come from East Hartford, Manchester. They mainly came from Wick. And so let me tell you something. When I look at Henrietta Beckman and Reverend Brown, they have responded to probably 95% of those homicides in that period of time. And so forth, making sure families get some kind of spiritual support, moral support, and everything else. And everywhere I go, I speak to that, to the importance of the kind of work that we do, and why I have to keep staying focused on these young brothers and sisters inside this room. Because again, without us, there is nobody. And I recognize that. And so, Brother Lovejoy asked me to share more about what we do. I'm not going to go there because I'm among family, and most of you folks know what I do, like I know what the most of you do too. But at least we can sit here and honor each other and recognize the work that we do without talking a whole lot about ourselves. And so that's why I at least wanted to highlight a few folks that's inside this room and so forth. When I look at the work of the Hartford Proud Drummers, the Duffy Stop.
8 years ago with Captain Locke. And I always say it, I had a dream. And I woke up after I had that dream and I went to Captain Locke and I shared it with him. And he said, Miss Richardson, it's wonderful. You can start the ministry here out of the Salvation Army. And it started with 4 women out of the Salvation Army, his wife Patricia Locke being one of those people. As if anybody knows anything about the dynamics of Salvation Army, they change out their ministers, their leadership every couple of years, few years. I think he actually went a little further than his couple of years with us. But as he moved on, Daughters of Eve kind of branched out because I didn't want it to be so much behind the church doors. I wanted to be out there in the community amongst the people. One of the things that I'm passionate about is that if there's something that I feel that I'm concerned about, an issue that myself or the other Daughters of Eve see in the community, and today we have Sons of Adam. Thank you to my son Christopher Anderson, who said, Mom, I'm not a daughter, so it is.
That's right.
So we had to honor our young men, and that's how the Sons of Adam came about. Recently, and I'll just share what the Daughters of Eve has done. There's quite a few things. I would bore you to death if I told you a lot of them. But on Enfield Street, I moved on Enfield Street a couple of years ago. And one of the things, God, I've watched him take his time with me over the course of the year.
Still here at the Black History event, Saviours Day, Youth Can Save Our Community. Having a fantastic time. We've recognized some frontline saviors, if you will, in our community who are working on behalf of youth in our community, and we are excited to be able to recognize their work. We know that our young people can be the saviors of our community. I just want to thank everyone who participated and look forward to next year. Thank you.
Our young people have a very particular way of expressing themselves. Yes, no? Right? Yeah. Young folks today just different. Different than when I was coming up. Different than when my mother was coming up. Surely they different than when my grandmother was coming up. Is that right? I tell the children at Freddie Wish all the time, you only need 1 week with my mother. She straighten that out. Trust me. All right? Don't let me bring my mother here. But sometimes it's good to see young people that are moving in the right direction. That's right. And of course, how many of you have young folks in your life and they are social media adept? Is that right? They might have a cell phone, a tablet, right? They got a touch screen in their room. Yes, sir. Okay? So when I ran across these young brothers who are in the hip-hop industry, come on now, and I saw that they was making some music that had a certain swag to it. I said, oh man, we got to bring them here. Come on. We need to hear from these young brothers. That's right. So I want to bring these young brothers on.
Same color as icy. You been doing them real. Just the offbeat. All I do is swag. Look at how I'm fresh. Every day I'm fresh. Every day I'm fresh. All I do is ball. Nikes with the checks. Every day I'm fresh. Every day I'm fresh. Every day I'm fresh. Every day I'm fresh. Nikes with the checks. looking